Um, okay. Thank you so much for inviting me to do this. I'm excited to be doing this actually, and I hope that we get to share stuff and benefit from one another, because I have quite a different reality with graduate school. And like Zaya said, I would love to get everyone's opinion as much as possible. And somehow just everyone should participate in the discussion. And at some point during the presentation, you get to share your views and experience. Yeah, just a quick thing about CBT. CBT is one of the most commonly used psychotherapy treatment to treat mental health disorders, more like talking therapy. You know, the way doctors or psychiatrists treat with medications, psychologists treat with psychotherapy. So CBT is one of the commonly used ones that one of the commonly used psychotherapy method that we use, and it means cognitive behavioral therapy, where which means cognitive behavioral therapy, which is like a talking therapy where we use to help manage your problems or modify the way you think, modify your behavior, and more like it's not a one-sided thing. It's more the therapist and the clients. Yeah, I hope that explanation suffices. Okay, so the topic is mental health and graduate school, and so as much as possible, I'll try to use the slides to explain how to recognize, understand, and manage mental health issues in graduate school. Please, as much as possible, try and let me know if you can hear me clearly in the chat box, so that I know that I'm on the right track and not that I'm talking to myself. So I'll be expecting it. Continue. I'll be expecting a feedback in the chat box or by audio so I can continue.
Yeah, you can continue. I can hear you.
Okay, awesome. So before I go on, I want everyone on this call to indulge me and type in just for me to know, to have an idea of who the audience is. So what graduate school are you currently attending? What graduate school program are you currently attending? What year, what program, what course? Just indulge me and type in the chat box. Thank you. I want to just see who is on this call and just see the kind of schools people are attending at the moment. I'll give a couple of minutes to, okay. Thank you, Mariam. Expecting from others, please. Okay, got it, okay, I'll just continue then. So this is like a survey for everyone on this call, regardless of if you are taking a master's degree or PhD or a BSc or anything. You're in school, and mental health is something that's important to anyone that is in school or anyone that is doing some form of academic program or the other. And so, so this is just like few questions. There are about 10 questions in all that would help you gauge how serious a mental health issue might be. And so it's more like a self-assessment thing, which is a good way to get honest with yourself and to have an idea of how graduate school might be affecting your mental health. Okay, so the first question, so you can just do this on your own and have an idea of, okay, do I agree to this, or do I disagree to this? And so at the end of this thing, you have an idea of, okay, so maybe school is affecting or not affecting my mental health, okay? So the first question, school often feels overwhelming, but lately so does life in general. So my sleeping habits have changed. I'm sleeping too much or I'm not sleeping enough. So these questions are also going to give you an idea of how graduate school can affect your mental health, all right? So I've lost interest in doing things I used to enjoy. It's safe to say that I sometimes feel empty. Sometimes I feel like a fraud. I keep waiting for everyone else to see how worthless I am or to show me how worthless I am. I'm like, you're waiting for everyone to discover how much of a fraud or how much of incompetence you have. I worry so much that sometimes those worries take over my life. So it can get as bad as that. Friends and family have noticed concerning changes in me. Self-doubt has been overwhelming me since I started grad school. So this is more in relation to imposter syndrome. Sometimes I am on a high and can't slow down, like your brain is working overtime. Other times I'm so depressed that I do not want to get out of bed. I turn to alcohol or unprescribed drugs or coffee more and more these days just to keep you going, something to start your day, something to help you get by your day-to-day activities. I find myself staying up way too late or work on assignments and then worrying that I do not spend enough time on them. So this is a common thing where you feel like you're spending so much time on it and you're not spending enough time on it, like you're not doing enough. Nothing you ever do would be enough for you to succeed. So if you disagree with most of these sentences, most of these statements that I've just read out, I'm glad. So that means you feel good. So even if you disagree with most of these statements, it's always good to keep tabs on your well-being. It's good to keep tabs on your well-being, and so you can as well listen up and continue on this call. So it doesn't mean, oh, okay, I disagree with most of these things, I do not belong here, okay? But if you agree with some of these statements, it means that you could be facing the challenges of mental illness or mental health disorders. So you should stay tuned and let's go on this together and possibly ask questions or share your opinion, share your story when it's time for you to share your experience, okay? And so quickly, I want us to take a pause and reflect on this quote. Mental health conditions in general is not something that we should blame people for, okay? Or just expect them to get over it. If someone says that they have anxiety or depression or any other mental health condition, it's not because they are not trying their best or they are choosing to feel that way. It's because they are just going through something that is challenging for them. They are going through something that they are not able to cope with their day-to-day activities. They are going through something that is overwhelming. And so what is mental health? Mental health, according to WHO, is a state of well-being in which an individual, so maybe an individual right now is a graduate student or a student in general, and in which that individual realizes his or her own abilities. That individual can cope with the normal stresses of life. That individual can work productively and fruitfully, and that individual is also able to make contribution to his or her community. So mental health in general affects your day-to-day activities. It affects your emotional health. It affects your interpersonal relationship with people. It affects how you relate with things generally and how you react and relate to people that come in contact with you. Although I'm saying this so that we would have an idea of what mental health is, and so that we would realize that this is something important. I mean, everyone has a mental health, and mental health is as important as your physical health. Like the way your head is, and you have headache, you have a headache. You would not feel mental health conditions just like that. It might affect your feelings, and the way your feelings are, the way your thoughts are, may sort of also affect your physical health, okay? And so just give a big background on that. And you should also know that every student is unique, and mental health challenges may look differently for everyone. And so they commonly, okay, let me just go to the next slide. Okay, so I was also trying, from the last slide, I was trying to say that mental health in grad school, it looks differently for everyone. And from previous researches and things that I've read up or seen from basically foreign students, because this the information on the side right now is not really for international or African students, although I'm sure there will be some form of fact out there, but this was reported, like the population used for this survey was, there were no Blacks, there were no Africans, yeah? And so it's like graduate students, they have a risk of anxiety and depression, like it's more higher, it's like 6 times higher than that of the general public. And that's because grad school is like a journey. It's a very, very difficult time, personally and socially. Like it's a lot of stress, it's a lot of work, like you are going through a process, like it feels like that's like one of the things one of the process for you to get through to achieve your career path. So it's very important that you realize that you are, as a graduate student, you are predisposed to depression, anxiety, and other forms of mental health disorder, and which is because a lot of your experiences, a lot of the things you go through is exposing you to these things. So for example, you have certain triggers that you are not aware of, and if you are not aware of them, you are likely to break down with, you're likely to not be able to prevent yourself from breaking down with a mental condition. Okay, so another thing is, for a graduate student, you are constantly facing deadlines, constantly under pressure to make it through. It's like the weight of graduate school, the weight of getting an advanced degree is like the only key to a bright future. And it's a lot of stress, it's a lot of overwhelming thing on your shoulder, especially if on some form of funding, or you are even self-funding. It's a lot of stress for your parents to think about, oh, how do I send money to this person? They are in school, or how do I keep showing up every day for my funders to keep, paying my salary or giving me, keep up with that scholarship, basically. And so it's something we also have to realize. Okay, so okay, sorry. Okay, so now we're going to get really, sorry. Okay, so now we're really going to get into what understanding common mental health issues for graduate students. So imagine getting into the graduate program of your dreams. So I'm looking at someone who is in Nigeria, or someone who is in any of the African country that has gone through the process of applying, putting together their documents, writing essays, attending interviews, visa, and all that. Imagine going through all of that and getting it on a fully funded platform versus going to grad school, or going to grad school outside of Nigeria, or even in Nigeria, sponsoring yourself, or your parents are sponsoring you. So those are like different scenarios. So just imagine that, for example, you're out of Nigeria, you leave your family, your friends, your loved ones to another country to say you want to study, which is a big deal for you, right? And so imagine that, and going through this a few days, a couple of weeks or months into it, realize that now this is very, very challenging, and not just in the academic sense, because of course, for you to get to graduate school, for you to to get that admission and go through the rigor of, getting the visa. It's a big deal for you. It means you are talented. It means you are a scholar. It means you are creative, you are smart, intelligent, and it means that I'm believing that everyone here is a Muslim. It means that Allah has favored you, like Allah's bounty has made this happen for you, right? So just imagine that and think about how this could affect your psychological well-being. In some cases, the academics might not be the issue, but if the academics is the issue, maybe your research area is not, the research area you were interested in previously on getting to school is not what you are really, really interested in right now, and it's not looking interesting for you. Or maybe the psychological distress may be a result of a little other things, smaller things like what's showing on the screen right now. And it could be that, you lose interest in your day-to-day activities, or you struggle to do things continuously. So combination of all of this could actually put you at a risk for being so overwhelmed, anxious, uncertain with what you are going to do next, or even depressed. Okay. Did someone say something?
No, you can continue.
Okay, so imagine the combination of all of this for someone that is away from home. So it can lead to a lot of other mental health conditions. So I'm just going to take this one by one, like explain and sort of giving scenarios, and then after this, I give room for people to share their experiences, because I'm believing that a lot of us are in school and could be going through something, one form of mental health issues or the other. Okay, so depression. So I put situational or not because there's something called clinical depression and there's something called situational depression. So the clinical depression is like you get a diagnosis, you are going through low mood, feelings of sadness, you're not interested in things that used to be pleasurable to you, like loss of interest in previously pleasurable activities, fatigue, crying spells, like you're just crying for no reason, for a particular reason, but right then you can't figure it out. Like the only thing you feel like doing is just to cry. Overwhelming stress, which could actually be because you have a hectic work schedule, you are isolated, because I hear that when people go abroad, they battle with loneliness for a large period of time, which is very sad. Like you are not able to relate to people. It's not like here where you kind of form a relationship with your neighbors. And because we're social beings and we like to interact, so it's not what you are used to. So those combination of those things can kind of be like situational depression, because it's what your current situation is at the moment. Maybe if you change location and if you are in a location that is favorable, that you like, or that you are able to do things that are normal to you, the depression or the feelings of depression go away. Okay, and so so for a grad student, depression can look like being stressed out. It can look like complete loss of motivation. It can look like lethargic behavior, like you're just tired for no reason. You sleep too much or you sleep very little. Okay, it could be also crying, like I've said earlier. And that's also because you have like a hectic work schedule, you're attending classes for yourself, you have projects with deadline, you have to keep up with a lot of things, basically teaching classes, maybe you are on scholarship and you have to teach to get paid. You also have to keep up with communication with people at home. So all of this, combining all of this is stressful for you. So moving on to the feelings of stress and anxiety. So sometimes you have to deliver, you have things to submit, you have reports or you have research to do. So the feeling that, you're not able to get reasonable results or favorable results, like it gets to you and you're not sure of what will happen, or the fact that you are maybe away from family and then you do not know what's happening to them right now. So combination of all of those things could lead to a lot of stress for you, and possibly you could burn out from engaging in those things. Also talking about isolation and loneliness, you tend to get withdrawn to yourself because that's like you are alone, you're all alone on yourself, and maybe you are not you're not able to communicate with people like you would normally do back at home, or it's just like a strange thing for you. You're not familiar with people or places, or you are missing your family and friends. Like all of those things could lead to some form of isolation and loneliness. Like you feel that way, and if you don't pay attention to it, it could break down into something more, depression or any form of personality disorder. And so there's also this thing about comparison and pressure. People work in different ways, and you are working with more like maybe you get into a lab or something, and you are working with people from different countries, and they work in different ways. They have different work ethics. And so if you're a kind of person that you start early enough and complete your work before the deadline, and another person, they do their work, okay, few days to it, they burn the night candles and all of that. So that could get to you, and that pressure, like, oh, I'm not doing enough. This person is always at the lab, they come early, they leave late. Do you get? So thinking about those things, it could also get to you and could affect your mental health on a large level. So the work-life balance or imbalance, where maybe you have a kind of mindset when you are in grad school, when you are in school for that matter, that, oh, there's no break, there's no boundary between what you have to do at school and your personal life. Like you have that mindset, and maybe you also have that expectation where you're always going to be working, or if you're not even working, you have to be thinking about the work that you have to do. Or when you sleep, now talking about sleeping issues and disorders, when you sleep, you dream about the work that you're supposed to do, or you dream about your exam, or you dream about something that is related to work. Like there's no that life and work balance. Like you go to work, or you go to school rather, or you do school activities Monday to Sunday. There's no break for you for your personal life, and that gets to you a lot. So combination of all of these things, like I said, could make someone break down more and could lead to a mental health condition. So self-harm and suicidal thoughts and ideation. So now this is very important to me because there's been a lot of, now speaking from my own reality, where I've done my master's in Nigeria, yeah, and where you see people going through PhD programs for a number of years. Some make it, some do not make it. And the feelings that, oh, you're not progressing, and there's nothing progressing with your life really, because you really need this degree. You don't see yourself doing anything else. And so this could lead to a lot of suicidal thoughts or ideas where you feel like there's nothing more to your life than this degree. It's not moving, you're not progressing. You just want to end it all, or you want to harm yourself such that, or you further make yourself like less able. Maybe you harm yourself in such a way that you feel the pain that you're feeling from not progressing, like emotional pain. You feel that pain that you're feeling from not being able to progress with your degree. I mean, imagine doing a PhD for 7 years or more than that because something somewhere is happening, or there's ASU on strike, or your supervisor is not listening to you, like something that is not really pertaining to you, that it's not your fault. Like the system is just like that, or you are also in another country where the system is not favorable to you, and you keep going back and forth. You're not getting the results that you desire for your program or for your research, and so you're just not able to progress. So those feelings can really be overwhelming, and it gets to you. So there's also imposter syndrome, which is a huge part of being a student, and even a grad student for that matter, and where you feel like you're deceiving people and you'll be found out soon, where you're not deserving of the position, like you start to second guess your abilities and the fact that you've worked for this, or a feeling like, am I even qualified for this thing? And obviously, when you're trying to apply for a grant, or when people have recommended that, oh, you should apply for this. And so that feeling of insecurity and uncertainty, all of those things are affecting you. You're not sure about your career path. You're not even sure of why you are in graduate school, or why you are in school for that matter. Are you in school to just get a degree, or just get the degree and be called a doctor at the end of the day, or something? So those things, they are really, really valid feelings, right? But it's also very important that you're aware about what you're feeling currently. And so, which will take me to sort of asking us. So I understand that we're in different levels of schooling or of an academic program, but still, I want you to indulge me and tell me in the chat box, or if we can take a few people to unmute their mic. Zainab, if that's okay, let us know what's your mental health in school or graduate school. What does your mental health, what does it look like as a graduate student, or as a MSc, or undergraduate student? So I'll be very happy to read your comments or listen to your experience. Yeah. So does
Okay,
anyone want?
yeah, I would like to share.
Okay, I'm listening.
Okay, I'm starting my third year PhD August, and my master's research and PhD I'm presently doing is research based only. So that means I didn't attend a class. So what I'm just doing is communicating with my supervisor and the other research members, um, in my supervisor's research. So in a way, there is a limit to the people I communicate with regarding my studies. It was one challenge. Then what I was able to do, or what I feel I'm doing, is that first of all, I had to remind myself that I need to focus on only what I can change. I can't stop my school from doing research-based master's or PhD. There's nothing I can do, and I've found myself there already. So what I decided to do, okay, let me just focus on what I can change. So the first thing that because I know before I started graduate school, I've been learning about mental health, and the fact that as people that the way we grew up in Africa, it was after we became adults before we started even learning about mental health, before we started knowing, okay, what is depression, what is anxiety, what is imposter syndrome, and the likes. So the first thing I did was that I made my mental health a priority the same way I make my physical health a priority. So the same way, if I'm having a headache, I'll think about it like, okay, for the past 24 hours, what do I think might be causing my headache? Is it stress? Is it because I've not eaten? So the same way when I'm working, when I'm feeling sad, I'll be wondering, okay, is there anything in the past 24 hours that is making me sad? If I'm having imposter syndrome, did someone say something to me within the past 24 hours, or is there something I'm doing that is making me behave like this? Then if I'm having anxiety, am I preparing for something? Do I have like a presentation I need to do, or whatever? What's causing this anxiety? So when I think about it in a way, I'm able to like, okay, this is what is causing it. What do I have to do? Do I need to like maybe switch off my laptop? Do I need to take my mind off things? Do I need to speak with someone? Do I need to go out? So, and it's in a way, it also makes me like, okay, know where my, how would I put it? Okay, where am I? Like, where my mental health is. So if I feel, okay, this is being too frequent, do I need to talk to an expert? Do I need to, is this something that is beyond what I can do? So in a way, the fact that like any feeling I'm going through, the fact that I sit down, think about it, in a way, I think it has helped me. It has helped me to like manage grad school. Really has really helped me manage grad school, and I try as much as possible not to make friends with people that like book too much. I don't have another life because I know I can't deal with that. Because I would need people around, the few people around me that I like communicate with in school, that I discuss with. I need people that we can speak outside just for research. Can we talk about other things? So those are the things that help me like take my mind off it when I'm going through, when I'm sad, or when I'm okay, I need to break from my work. Like I said before, it is a research based graduate program. So I have a limit to the people I communicate with, and the fact that it's not even in Nigeria. So that's really limited like my communication with people, and I feel that's what really helped me.
Thank you for sharing, Zainab. Just to kind of echo what you said, so I think the first thing is you understand what your limit was, like what can control your progress, and that's like recognize your influence of control, and then you also have as much as possible try to prioritize your mental health as much as your physical health. Then I heard you say that you also like, yeah, you're deliberate, you're intentional about your circle of influence, your circle of friends. And that's very, very important. Another thing I think I heard you say is to check in with yourself, more like an emotional check-in. So we'll also actually be talking about that in a few minutes or seconds. So really, thank you for sharing. Does anyone else want to share? Be really happy if I can see
Hi,
people.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Oh, can I go ahead and share?
Yeah, of course, of course.
Okay, so my name is Mariam, and I am a final year medicine associate student here. And honestly, I mean, I'm not a graduate student, but I am very exhausted. I feel as if I've been in school my entire life, and even though I mean I can see the final line right in front of me, it just feels even further than when I was in, I don't know, fourth year, for example. And my mental health has just been really terrible. That is starting to was starting to show physically. I mean, random pain and all of those stuff. And but all I can say is that what keeps me going, or what has been helping, is that I just try to remind myself that Allah is not going to give me more than I can bear, and I just need to hold on a little longer. And I'm grateful that I joined this. Thank you so much for this program. I'm grateful that I joined because I actually was also, or I'm actually considering going to graduate school. I'm not still so sure yet. And a question that I've been asking myself is like, is it like you like too much wahala or what? Because I mean, if you finish med school and then you still decide to go to grad school, that's, I don't know. I don't know if I'm just like, I like too much stress or maybe it's really worth it. But it's beautiful hearing from people that have gone through that have gone through grad school or are still in grad school, for example, and sharing their experiences and what has been helping them. And yeah, thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much, Mariam, for sharing. Really appreciate that you were able to open this call. I hear you, and I can imagine how overwhelming everything must be for you right now, like being in med school and going to, even that's more like you're out of Nigeria, and you sound like someone that is aware. Like, I like the fact that you have recognized, okay, maybe it's pain and this and that, that maybe could be something is changing with your mental health. And you, the fact that you still want to go to grad school, it's not a bad thing, honestly. It's just like you are, I don't say intentional, you have like a strong drive to do something. And if you do not do it, if you feel it strongly and you have a strong why for it, I mean, that's very important, having a strong why and like knowing why you want to do this and how it's going to help with your career path. And so I think that's one thing you should probably figure out. I read someone in the chat box say that he's doing a master's in surgery or something. Sounds like a medical doctor. So you could maybe link up with Zainab and see if there's some form of mentoring or something, if you are open and if they are able to provide, like link you guys up or something, so that you just be sure of someone to just listen and echo your thoughts and know that, okay, this is, maybe you could try this or try that. I don't know if that's something you'd want to do. You could connect with Zainab and see what works. So thank you so much for sharing. I see someone type something in the chat box. I'll read it up later, inshallah. And so this slide now is just for us to, having listened to everything and what people have shared. So if anyone else wants to share something, please kindly share it in the chat box, or you can share it after we are done, okay? So take a pause and reflect. So this quote is something that we've heard it over and over again. It's okay not to be okay. I mean, there's a K-drama that basically has the title, It's Okay Not to Be Okay. So it's really, really okay not to be okay. And this is more like not being ashamed of how you feel or how you react to some things. If it's not coming from, oh, I'm proud, this is the way I am. And so, but what is not okay is to struggle alone. The way you feel a headache, or you feel some sharp pain in your tummy or something on some part of your body, like you can feel the pain strongly, and it's not allowing you to carry on your day-to-day activities. The way that is, you definitely speak up. So when you feel stuff with your feelings, your behavior, how you think, how you react, or how you're feeling currently, or you're not able to sleep, or a lot of those things that I've talked about earlier, you should not struggle alone, please. You should speak up and reach out to someone who you think would understand, or someone who you think would listen to you and maybe connect you to the right place. So this would help like break the stigma of mental health or mental health conditions being a negative thing. Okay. Okay, so this slide now is more towards the end of this, but it's going to be a bit elaborate because there's a lot more that I wanted to add to this. I'll just be running through everything in a bit to help us understand how to manage our mental health issues as students, as humans, or as Muslims, or someone that is going through life. Okay, and so the first thing I would say is do not minimize it. It is not a thing to be minimized, because if you minimize it or ignore it, it could linger on for a long time. And if you're in school or if you're working, it could you will go on for a long time and you eventually break down. And remember that for everything you do in school or working or something, you have a goal, you have a reason for doing that. And a breakdown could actually set like could bring about a setback for you. And so you should not minimize it. Again, I'm saying that mental health looks differently, or mental health condition looks differently for everyone. And it may happen at different levels. And if you are self-aware, like you are self-aware, you know your triggers, like Zainab had said, like you're aware of your triggers and you know that, okay, this is something that I definitely need to look out for, which is taking me to the next thing, emotional check-in. or check in with yourself. Sometimes we don't realize how nervous or how withdrawn we are until it's been like a few months or years or something, or weeks, if I'm not exaggerating. But if you routinely check in with yourself, with your mood, with your energy level, you can notice these little changes much earlier before they become like big changes. This is like listening to the physical cues or your emotional cues, like things that you see from your body, things that you feel from your body. And if you notice this, and they could also be like red flags. Oh, I've not felt this before. This is strange. Why am I feeling this way? Sorry. Why am I feeling this way? This would also be helpful. And I have like a couple of questions, 6 simple questions that could help you check in with your emotional health. So the first thing is ask yourself, how do I feel right now? Okay, like how do you feel right now? It would help if you actually journal this down, like write it down and get a journal, like a notepad or something that you do from time to time, maybe weekly or bi-weekly or monthly or bi-monthly, just something you do consistently to help you, or just wake up in the morning and ask, or before you sleep at night, how do I feel right now? Okay, what am I grateful for right now? That's something you should also practice. Gratitude. What is something that I can do today that will be good for me? Okay. What do I really need? Okay. What do I really need to feel my best? What is taking up most of my headspace today? And the last one is, how have I been speaking to myself lately? So these questions could help you realize certain cues that might be changing in you, your emotional, your physical or social health or interpersonal relationship with people. Okay, so another thing that could help you manage mental health issues in grad school is do not hesitate to seek help or support. I say this because I know that being in school is something, and it might not be something you can handle alone, especially if you're far away from family that would see this thing and sit you down and try to help you, or do things that will make you happy, or do things that would relieve you of whatever is making you feel down or overwhelmed or stressed, right? So do not hesitate to seek help or support. It could be from your colleagues, it could be from your supervisor, it could be from your Muslim community, it could be from people you call friends, or people you call lab mates, or people you do things together with on a daily basis. It could also be from your school's mental health center, if your school has one. It could also be from online. There are mental health organizations that offer like free psychological first aid. I mean, I volunteer with one, and I can also share like a form, something for you to fill, and a counselor reaches out to you as soon as they can. It could also be this community, Muslims in research and academics. Just seek help or support from someone from some place that is really open to helping people, because they, or it could also be mentors, people that are in a higher level than you, and they could have some form of helpful advice that can help help you understand how to navigate your current phase. Okay, so another thing is emotional release. And I say this because sometimes you just want to shout, you just want to cry. This is something that helps you, it's something that clears your mind. Crying is not a bad thing. If, if, if it's Crying is not a bad thing at all. It makes you feel better. If you do not feel like crying, you can shout or just release in such a way that it makes it healthy and makes you feel better at the end of the day. Reciting the Quran, something that makes you connect with yourself, or listening to other people's recitation of the Quran, or joining an Islamic community, something that connects you with nature. Okay, so that's something that you can also do. You could also create memories. And when I mean create memories, it means seeing that do things that makes you remember your journey at the moment. And so that when you look back, you realize, okay, I've gone through this. Okay. Creating memories can mean you link up with people around you and visit places in the town or in the city that you live in, and maybe take pictures, make videos, or try out a new restaurant, or go on YouTube, look for recipes and do something that's fun, interesting, and just something that makes you feel refreshed. Okay. Another thing you can do is make time for downtime. So when I mean make time for downtime, it means like make time to socialize with your family that you live far away from, your partner, if you are married. Make time to schedule your rest, schedule times for rest, schedule times to go through things that you love to do, like your hobbies, if it's reading, if it's writing, if it's doing advocacy, just something that makes you happy, something that makes you feel human again. And it could also be spending time with family virtually, or it could be going out with people, your small circle of friends that are willing to do this with you, just so that you stay away from things that remind you of school, things that remind you of your tight schedule. Another thing you should do is to take care of your physical health. And it means like exercising regularly, eating a healthy diet, cutting down a lot on your coffee or caffeine. I know it's not easy, especially if it's something that you are used to. Cutting down on it would help you not stay, would help you not be too hooked up on it. Like you don't have to take coffee to start your day. You can take coffee to start your day, but if you do not take coffee in a day, your day is not complete. And that's a problem. And so you should actually take time to take care of your physical health. Exercising too is something that helps you release and connect with yourself a lot more. So the idea of all these things I'm saying is doing them should help you connect more with yourself at the end of the day. It should help you release tension from stress, and it should also help you remind yourself, like keep yourself healthy such that you are able to actually go through your day-to-day activities on a large scale, and not like you are struggling to go through them. So another thing I think could help manage your mental health issues is to work smarter and not harder. So the ideal thing is I go to school, or I do school work Monday to Sunday. It's not smart at all. It's you overworking yourself. I mean, there's a limit to how much you can do some things, and definitely your body would tell you, it would affect your body if you keep going and going at that pace. So it would be nice to actually work smarter to prevent you from breaking down, because if you break down, you could like give like a setback to your studies, which would not be nice at the end of the day. So if you so working smarter and working harder could also mean that you do not procrastinate on challenging tasks. I know that some things do not come easy to you. So maybe if you start them early enough, it could help with working smart. You know that, oh, I do not like doing this, I do not like writing, and it takes a long, I have a long writing process. So if you actually start early enough, like the moment start brainstorming, putting down your ideas before you actually start writing seriously. So that's like not procrastinating on challenging tasks. You could also find out from your mates or from your lab mates how they go about stuff like that. Could also help you have an idea, oh, this is something this person does, I could try it too. If this is a difficult task for me and it's going to help me work smarter. And okay, Another thing to help you work smarter is to be aware of your own patterns of productivity. So that's like identify what days of the week are you most productive at, or what days of the week are you not productive at. So maybe the times of the day when you are most productive at, you do like the tasks that are very difficult, that you need time to focus, and the times that, oh, I'm not so productive, this is something that comes naturally to you. You can schedule things at those times. So that's like working smarter and not harder. And another thing about this is to actually have like an accountability partner, maybe someone that knows, someone that you like commit to, that you commit to yourself. It might just be the person committing to you or you committing to them. You don't have to do this like for each other, but it would help if they understand you so well, such that you're able to be accountable to them, and you show up at maybe the times you're supposed to do reviews or something. Another thing I think you should do is to seek support network. Like I've said before, this is like one support network. It would be nice to have a community of people that are going through a similar thing, or that have like a similar goal, for you to like support yourself, celebrate yourself, and do not hide your struggles from them. Like, do not be ashamed to share your struggle with them. This could also be like peer-to-peer support groups where you can share your experiences and ideas with each other. I mean, the goal is to grow together, like grow together and affect yourselves positively. So it could be like a form of good support for yourself. Okay, so another thing is to compare yourself with yourself. So this is very important in terms of in the area of imposter syndrome. Like, do not compare yourself with another person, because you are different, and there's something that's actually very unique about you that they do not have. Okay, and if you compare yourself with yourself, it means that you are able to identify, okay, a year ago or a month ago I couldn't do this, and now I'm able to do this. And that's like celebrating your little wins. That's like acknowledging that, yes, I am progressing. I wasn't able to do this last week, but today, I mean, I've started the process, and I see myself at the end of the week being very successful, or being very feeling achieved with being able to do this. Okay, so comparing yourself with yourself is also going to help with like actualizing your long-term goals, and you're able to know that, okay, this is where I'm going, and this is where I'm coming from. And so it's just so helpful that way. And it could help a lot with imposter syndrome. More like you're tricking your brain when your brain tries to say, no, you're not qualified, you shouldn't be here, these guys are better than you. But forgetting that you also have something. You came from a place where you did not have access to some of these things that you have access to now. So more like I'm telling yourself and reminding yourself why you are here and why you are doing this and what you stand to achieve with what you are doing this. And importantly, reminding yourself where you have been previously and where you are now, and recognizing it, like acknowledging it to yourself. Okay, so another thing is to stay mindful of your long-term goals. And so when you kind of find yourself getting lost in working on research that does not have like short-term results, and this comes very handy. For example, you are kind of separated from your spouse because you are not able to be, like your spouse is not able to come with you, or you guys have like a plan to reunite at a particular time. So like reminding yourself and staying mindful of the long-term goals that you have to achieve could be something that keeps you going, could be something that can help with managing your any mental health issues that may arise. And it could also help you, apart from reconnecting to your original motivations, it could also help you to rediscover your why. and kind of reduce the stress that could arise from being separated from your spouse. Or like I started with, it could remind you of why you started out on this research in the first place, because obviously the research is not going to give you like a short-term result. You have to keep doing something. You have to go through the process consistently for you to see the results. So staying mindful of your long-term goals is something that I feel like every student or every graduate student should have. This also kind of helps to reframe your thoughts. So this is like bringing in cognitive behavioral therapy, like reframing your thoughts to help you with what looks difficult for you right now. And so instead of approaching it in a way to prove yourself, like I'm here and I have to show up, I have to do something, they have to know that, oh, I'm working. Well, obviously, you're not going to get that result now. So it sort of helps you to approach each day with curiosity. Oh, so what can this day bring? What good can this day bring to me? Or what good is going to happen this month? And so you just keep going like that, remembering your big why, remembering why you are doing this in the first place. And so I hope that makes sense in terms of staying mindful on your long-term goals. And another thing I think someone had echoed earlier is remembering that grad school would not last forever. And so this is actually very important. I mean, no condition lasts, no condition is permanent, if I'm allowed to use that. And I kind of feel like personally, I feel like graduate school is not something that is like a sustainable lifestyle. It's not something that someone should have to go through all their life. It should just be something that someone should pass through. It should be something that someone should go through, to help you with your career path, to make you more desirable to employers, or to help you like be able to be in a better position to take up more roles and like be more qualified. So I feel like grad school definitely is not something that will last forever. So you recognizing it and knowing that, oh, it's just a time, it's just for the time being, it's just for 4 years or 5 years or even 6 years. So it could help you put things in perspective. It could help you keep going every day and look forward to the end with a lot of smiles and joy in your heart, and like applying all of the things that I've learned.
Khayrah, we can't hear you. Okay. Okay. I think Khayrah's network is bad. She has.
Okay, I think I'm back.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. What was the last thing you heard? I'll just. Can you hear me?
Yeah. You spoke about knowing that grad school lasts. So
Okay.
after some years, yeah.
Okay, so I think I was already on perceived self-affirmations when I realized that, oh, I've been caught up. So understanding that grad school is not going to be forever, it's not going to be that phase of your life. I mean, life is in phases, and that's something that could help with, like, something that could help with looking forward to the end of it. Maybe your defense, or just maybe when you see your family around, when they come for your graduation, if they're able to, like, just imagining like having that imagery, that visual imagery of that, oh, this is what I want the end to look like, and this is how I want to feel. So realizing that, oh, this will last, it would not last forever. It's something that is in passing, and it's also going to like help you and make you more desirable to take up certain roles or be in a better position to make some certain policies. And so realizing that it's not going to last forever is a way to manage your mental health issues or stress or feelings of worthlessness that may arise from being in grad school. And so another very important thing is positive self-affirmation. I take this point personally because it's something that I have from time to time has helped like with my own mental health struggles, because everyone has some form of struggles or the other. And so this evening I was listening to someone on another Zoom call, I think this evening, and then this person has like a PhD and it's like a lecturer in another country, let's say Malaysia, and that's like a kind of Muslim country. I mean, people wear the hijab there, but this person doesn't wear like that kind of small hijab that most of the women wear. She wears like a bigger hijab. And so a lot of times she says that, no, this evening she just said like, she was trying to give an example of how she affirms herself positively. Like people look at you strangely because this is something strange to them. And so in a way, she just psychs herself up and like, oh, I'm beautiful, I'm smart, I belong here, and those things. And the way she approaches them, like speaking loudly, confident and all that, and they look at her like, wow, like the way they say to us here when they see an hijabi speaking very good English, or someone working in a managerial position and wearing the hijab, the way they look at you, like, do you even belong here? Like, the way you have to constantly positively affirm yourself, things that you believe in. And I've seen people actually use the names of Allah to also affirm themselves, like acknowledging how Allah has created them and how it has made them like Allah's blessings and bounties is actually helping them, and affirming and asking from Him. So more like using the names of Allah to affirm themselves. That's also something that you can do. So not just saying I am beautiful, you could say Al-Musawi, He fashioned me to be beautiful, or Al-Khaliq, He has beautified me with good character. You know, things like that could help affirm you positively and help manage mental health issues that you might come across with while in school or grad school. So just think widely and look at names of Allah that speaks to you personally, and use it to affirm yourself to help with building your self-esteem and all that. So another thing I think you should do is to be kind to yourself. I also take this very seriously. I mean, these last 3 points are very personal to me. Being kind to yourself is also acknowledging that you're not the only one going through this, and what you're going through is valid and it is real. It's not fake. It's not you forming it. So realizing that and giving yourself that grace, expressing kindness to yourself and taking breaks, like giving yourself that time to heal, giving yourself that opportunity to understand what is going on and not being hard on yourself. Like what you're going through is not your fault. You didn't bring it upon yourself. You only want a better life for yourself, and you're going through it and you're putting yourself through the stress. So it would be nice if you are also kind to yourself, because it's a way to go. It's something that would help manage your mental health, okay? And personally, I think being kind to yourself is a way to, I think being kind to yourself is a way to keep going, is a way to be sure of what you want. And, you know, you keep reviewing from time to time, because it's not something that you just go on and forget why you started. It is not something that you can totally control. You don't have the final decisions. They are based on a lot of things, and you have to be kind to yourself and do your own part and pray to Allah to help you with the rest of it. And realizing that, oh, there are some things I can control and there are some things that I cannot control. I've done my part, and these things I can only pray to Allah to help me. And it's not for you to be wicked or be blameful or blame yourself, okay? So as much as possible, show yourself grace and be kind to yourself. And another thing, which I feel like is the most important thing, is to hold on to your faith. Because in first instance, a lot of people dream of going to graduate school. A lot of people dream of going to some kind of Ivy League school or something, and they're not able to. But you are there, and even if it's attending Unilag, or you are there, or even OAU, you are there and you are getting that degree. You're in the process of getting that degree. And that takes a lot of mercy from Allah to go through from one level to another. So holding on to your faith in terms of in times of difficulty, in times of ease, like being thankful to Allah in whatever condition that you are in, is something that can help with managing mental health issues. Like more like your faith is keeping you going, more like your faith is the reason why you got here, and that's like the only thing that would help you, because really Allah knows, Allah gives bounty to whom he wills, and it takes he gives honor to whom he wills, and he takes honor from whoever he wills. But he has given you the opportunity to attend some form of education, formal education or the other, and that's a big deal. A lot of people do not have that opportunity. So in terms of good, bad, not so good, everything, hold on to your faith, because that's a way to keep going in life. And also realizing that maybe I can use this education to, like, turning it to an act of worship. I mean, people turning it to an act of worship, doing advocacy, writing about your experiences, mentoring other people that are coming behind. Like, that's something that can also help you keep going. And so also realizing that we are on earth to worship Allah, and everything we do, the studies that you are doing, use it to worship Allah. That's also holding on to your faith. You don't know where the goodness or where Allah's mercy is going to come from. So to hold on to your faith amidst everything is something that can also help you manage your mental health issues. So if there's anything else that I didn't touch on, you can share in the chat box, or you can unmute to speak if you do not have a lot of questions. I'll just be going to the chat now to see if there are questions. So thank you so much for listening. And if you have questions, please, I'm open to answering them, or if you have comments or suggestions or things that you feel has helped you, because like I said before, my reality of graduate school is different from some other people's reality, and as much as possible, I want us to learn from each other. Okay. Thank you. Jazakumullah khairan.
Jazakallah khairan. I think there are some questions in the chat box. So,
Yeah, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Yeah, I think you already answered some of my questions. However, I still have some comments to add to what you said. So, like Zainab said earlier, graduate school can either be course-based or thesis-based. And in most US schools, before you can even proceed to a research-based thesis, you need to write some exams. It is that exam that will qualify you to go further. So for instance, in my case now, University of Johannesburg, we're actually working on research-based thesis, which requires you to be fully researched, to be a full research student. So they expect you to come with some experience, which some of us may not have. I will use my school and most Nigerian schools as a case study. In most Nigerian schools, it is not easy for a graduate student to just go for a medical advice on graduate school programs, especially when they are depressed, because most people are actually doing this. Not because most of the time, the survey says that most graduate school students don't actually do it because they want to get extra degree or stuff like that willingly, but because it is necessary in some cases, and in some cases it's just not to just to get themselves engaged in something that could actually assist them, especially when they get job, that could push them ahead of other colleagues. So in addition to what I've just said now, I think what you didn't mention that might be crucial for some of us is taking break. You can actually take break. Normally during the course-based thesis, or let me say during undergraduate days, we take first semester break, second semester break, all these short breaks. But at times, as a graduate student, you also need breaks as well. Aside just going out or hanging out with people in committee, you need break. You can ask your supervisor, you need to take 1 month break. If you have the funding, you can actually travel to your own country. Just go and relax yourself. By the time you know it, when you come back, you feel relaxed, you feel refreshed. Also, I mentioned about me using coffee. I didn't think you answered that, but I didn't think you actually restricted us from using the coffee. Or it's something that if I don't do it, my system is not going to be in proper shape. You get? And I also observed recently I actually work better in the night. Like I have to shift my plan to work in the night, throughout the night, actually achieve more, and I gain more during the night than during the day, and I sleep myself throughout the morning. So I feel refreshed that way than just overstressing myself throughout the day, throughout the night. Do you get? Another thing I need to add is what am I forgetting? So someone asked a very crucial question. I think one of the last two chat that if you have a plan, like in grand chat format, or let me say in any format, you have your PhD, your master's plan, and you see that you did not achieve, let's say you said you want to finish your chapter 1 to 3 within 3 months or within the first 4 months, and you couldn't achieve it, you can give yourself tolerance. Tolerance is, okay, if I didn't finish within a month, then I could actually finish it within, let me say, 4 months. You get? Now, give yourself tolerance. I think graduate school have tolerance. Self master should be maybe 1 year or 2 years, but it can also give you extra 6 months, extra 1 year tolerance. Maybe something happened that you couldn't, like unforeseen circumstances. So, and the last point I also want to raise is that we need to have a plan, like a daily plan. The way we have our 5 daily salat now, we know by this time we have to pray, this time we have to read Quran, stuff like that. We need to have plan that, okay, I want to be studying for 4 to 6 hours every day. So within that 4 to 6 hours, try and maybe remove yourself from social media, try and off your data, try and concentrate or go to the library where you can have more focus. I think it is easier that way than trying to do everything at the same time. You want to chat, you want to read, stuff like that at the same time. We need to be more organized. I think when we are more organized, we can achieve more. So like at times you're reading, you're also checking social media, you see a breaking news, before you know it, you're discovering about the breaking news throughout the day, you already wasted time. So such things can also lead to you not completing your program on time, and you could be depressed, especially when your mates are finishing when they are supposed to finish and you couldn't make it up. I think this is just my contribution to what the speaker have just said. I hope we'll be able to learn 1 or 2 from the speakers and myself. All right, I'll hand over to the speaker.
Thank you, Larry.
Okay, thank you for sharing that, Khayrah. I didn't quite get some of the questions, but let me try and I'll try to answer the ones I think I heard correctly. So the first one is about coffee. I went through the chat box and I saw that. Well, drugs, let me just say generally, substances, like if you have to use them to start your day, I do not think that that's healthy enough. And like you do not take them, your day is not okay. And there's also something about if you take it on a daily basis, and at some point your body has gained tolerance to it, where you have to increase the dosage. That's also like getting addicted to it, and you keep increasing and increasing. So if that's the case for you, then I think that you need to try to cut down on it. And if you are sort of having some physical, if you're sort of having some physical issues from it, like if you do not take this coffee in a day, your body feels a certain way, headache or something, more like if you do not eat, you feel hungry, that's normal. But if you do not take coffee, or if you do not take some form of substance, you do not feel okay, you feel headache, or you feel nauseous, or you feel like vomiting or something, I think that's also already tending towards abuse. So if that's the case for you, you might need to speak to a, I don't know, a mental health professional in your school or something.
So I think you didn't get my point. That actually night plan actually. Do you get now? I've like reduced it. I can choose not to take it, and I can choose to take it. I only take it when I overfeed myself, and I need to study. So if I need to take that coffee to start, but it's not something I just take anytime I want.
Okay. I think that is okay, but I'm probably concerned about taking it to use to study. I know people take things to study. I do not do that, but I know people do that, and I see how it makes them read for longer hours. Or it could also be something that you take in between your study as like a refresher, or something that when you go for a break, more like you go for a break and take water, the way someone takes water from time to time. If that's the case, like I'm just trying to understand what your situation might be broadly. So forgive me if I'm going back and forth on, and I also don't want to be generalized or just say something, oh, this is wrong or this is not wrong, because this is not like an ideal session where I ask a lot of questions to understand what it is currently. Okay.
Yeah, I think someone, Suraj wants to say something. You can go ahead.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum. Yeah, I think I would like to commend the speaker. She did a great a great justice to the topic. And I must say, Jazakumullah khairan, because I feel like it is the right time we should start talking more about mental health, especially in Africa, because we don't always kind of believe in it. So I will just kind of talk about the issue of coffee that was raised by one of the brother, because I'm also in the addictions and mental health field here in Canada. So I think drug in itself, it's not a problem. You can use substance, but it becomes a problem, as the speaker rightly said, when it becomes an addiction. So if you start taking coffee, there is caffeine in all these things, and you get addicted to the use of coffee to the extent that you can't do anything without the coffee, you start experiencing headache if you don't take coffee or any substances that you are used to, then it has become a problem. It's an addiction. And once you are addicted to something, then it's a disorder that you need to see maybe a therapist, or you have to see a counselor about. And I'm also talking about treatment approaches to mental health disorder. I think the speaker laid more emphasis on the uh, the talk therapy, which is I think is being categorized under emotional and social approach to treat mental health. We under it is where we have the cognitive behavior therapy, which is the CBT that she's trying to talk about, and we also have a lot of things there that professionals use to talk or counsel people that are going through mental health disorder, like the HMI motivational interview and some stuff like that. But we should not forget the fact that we also have the spiritual aspects of treating mental health. And one of the spiritual aspects of treating mental health, it depends on who you are talking to. And this forum, I think a majority of the people here are Muslims. So I will say you can listen to Quran, you can read Quran when you feel like you are down, because research have shown that if you recite Quran or you listen to Quran, it's kind of lift your mood, and so to say. And a lot of things you can do. You can talk to people, you can kind of get close to nature by going out there, seeing. Some people love sitting by the water or stuff like that. Some people like walking between trees and stuff like that. Just make sure that anything you are doing, you are not stressing yourself out, and pay attention to yourself. Know what works for you and what doesn't work for you. If you know something doesn't work for you, the fact that I do something that is helping my mental health doesn't mean you're going to do it. It will help your mental health. So you have to pay much attention to yourself, know what works for you, and try to strengthen on that thing, just to achieve a healthy mental health. Jazakumullah khairan to everyone. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khairan sir for this. We appreciate your input. And it's almost 9 p.m. Yeah. So before we conclude, I don't know, Khayrah, do you have any other thing to add to this? Because I would like us to end today's program.
Okay, I don't want to add so much. Thank you so much, brothers, for sharing your thoughts and comments and all. That's really nice that there are a lot more other things that people can do to help with their mental health. Thank you for sharing that background, people. I also want to say about the coffee and night time. Absolutely do what works for you, but as much as possible, you have to know what limits your body can take. So maybe you love to work at night, that's very valid. And but during the day, does it affect how you show up, how you approach activities during the day? Do you get tired during the day because you are up late working at night? If you also have to do important things during the day, like staying at work, and do you feel sleepy during the day and you are not functional at work during the day? So those are things you have to look at and decide for yourself. So as much as possible, I say again, do what works for you, but you also have to see what limits and see if your day-to-day functionality isn't so affected, okay? I think I saw someone ask something about when is the best time to seek help. I'm not sure if I read that correctly. I'm trying to check now. And so I'm trying to, okay, at what point does one draw the line in not expecting validation from others and seeking help? That's a very deep question, because I think it comes from a level of self-awareness or self-discovery. Like if they do not say, oh, okay, I think you can do this, then that's when you realize that, oh, I can actually do this. If this happens every time for every decision you have to make, it means maybe you seek validation from other people and you're not able to make certain decisions from yourself. So it feels like that person is always going to make that decision for you, which is not healthy, because in true sense of it, that person isn't going to be there every time. And at some point you have to stand up for yourself and realize and decide certain decisions from yourself. But seeking help definitely is something that you can do from time to time if it doesn't feel like a burden, or if it doesn't feel like you can't move on with your life unless that person helps you every single time. I don't know if that makes sense or if that answers your question, but at the end of it all, Allah is someone that never complains, and you never have to draw the line when you need to seek his help. So if seeking help from human seems like you're overburdening them, you can always turn to Allah, and in all of the ways he can, I believe he will definitely send his help to you. And so that's speaking from a place of faith, and also you believe in like having that tawakkul that, okay, yes, the help is going to come. I don't know how, I just believe that it's going to come. So I think with that, I feel like I've answered all of the questions. Thank you so much for having me and listening and sharing your thoughts, comments, and for the brothers that shared stuff, thank you so much for also doing that. Jazakumullah khairan.
For those that are just joining for the first time, this is organized by Muslims in Research and Academics, and it's just a group of Muslims, Nigerian Muslims, who are in graduate school or are interested in going to graduate school, people that have completed graduate school and they have like one or two things to contribute to the group. So every month, last Sunday of the month, 7:30 Nigerian time, we discuss various topics that we feel are important to us in graduate school or people that are interested in joining graduate school. I hope to see, if you are interested in joining the WhatsApp group where we share most times graduate scholarships and also information that we feel is important to everyone as a graduate student. So if you're interested, you can drop your WhatsApp number and inshallah we'll add you to the group. And on this note, I'll just say Jazakumullah khairan to everybody for joining, and I hope to see you all next month, the last Sunday of next month, 7:30 p.m. inshallah.